here we go. In today's game, I'm going to do the same thing I did last time with Howe in Cornwallis coming on from the south. I'm trying out a different variation on field of fire. Essentially, if you end your move within a third of an enemy piece, or pieces, you must move into contact. Your movement can be done. You can move your full movement. And if you end within 1/3 of an enemy unit, you're considered to have got close enough that you're going to get sucked into combat. So, at the time you end up within a third, you're going to move into contact with the closest enemy unit. You don't always get to choose who you attack and how. Had I not mentioned anything though, you wouldn't notice anything in the way the game plays, or the way I play it. So here we go, I'm trying it out. Turn 1, which is of course turn 4. We play 4 through 8 at Brandywine. Green. First turn, British aren't here. Wait, here's Nefassan. He's still waiting. He's not going to do anything. He's just demonstrating in front of the colonial lines. Sullivan, waiting for the onslaught. Washington, waiting for the onslaught. They've been waiting all morning. Will it ever happen? Cornwallis has been drawn. On they come. The British Dragoons right around the right flank. Next turn, turn 5. Cornwallis goes first. The colonists won't get a chance to react. Now see here already, I have an issue with forcing someone to attack if they come within 1/3, because through the woods, this unit has come within 1/3 of this unit. He should have to attack it, or these units. All his orders is to cover the flanks. And 1/3 of a movement stick is almost half a mile. That's really too far for this period of smoothbore musketry. I prefer to use 1 base thickness. So if you're closer than a base thickness, you run into them. A base thickness is about 500 feet. That's 3/8 of an inch. 500 feet, when you're dealing with smoothbore muskets, which really weren't very effective at over 50 feet, you got some room. He's going to stop just like that, because it would be disastrous for him to rush forward. And now Green moves. Wayne attacks the guys in the woods. Wayne skitters out of there with his troops. Green attacks from the flank. Now technically, he would have to attack like this, but that's to say he's not able to attack is to say that you can somehow move your units so you can prevent the attack. That's not right either. They're being unbalanced by the surprise attack from the colonists. Now it's Nefassan. Now this is interesting. This unit is really compact its frontage to here. You'd like to say, well, I can just move these guys up like this. Except, would he? Would he know that? Would they be that coordinated? His orders were to demonstrate. I'll say that they will, because they come up over the top, they see what's going on, and they're drawn in. Donup's men as well, the troops keep their distance. I might play differently if I had complete control over it and I could just say, oh, here, attack here, here, and here. But the commander, Nefassan down here, he doesn't see that. He's supposed to keep the colonists pinned along the Brandywine. And then as Howe and Cornwallis move up to join them, that's what he's doing. Sullivan realizes he no longer needs worry about a flank attack from the north. He covers Whiston's forward, covers Jones' forward. He sends some spare troops southward. Washington moves last. Pulaski takes the hill here with his dragoons and watches. Knocks his artillery, shells Nefassan's attack, and Grant's troops are disrupted. Maxwell and militia come moving up. We got a lot of combat along the river here. First, a colonial attack on the British. The British receive 1 hit and elect to retreat. Now Nefassan's attack across the bridge. The colonial lines turn into a mass of terrified men. And the fighting in the woods. Here the colonists are also driven back. Green's entire command is disrupted and in disarray. Turn 6. Remember, the scenario starts on turn 4. Turn 6, 3rd turn of the day that we're playing. Cornwallis is drawn first. Now the Hessians press their advantage and attack the scrambling troops. Now the full move of the British elites puts them here. I'm a little loose with the movement stuff, so they're going to come right there. They're backing up the Hessians on the attack. Abercrombie's lights, along with the other British troops, turn. The British Grenadiers advance to this point. The artillery comes up, waiting to run into a knot of resistance that they can open up on. And now Green reacts. His troops fall back, past the supply wagons. Supply wagons have all been placed under Washington's command, so they will not move until Washington moves. What do you know? Washington moves. Now this is swamp. I'm going to rule that you can't take supply wagons through a swamp. So they're coming around here by Dilworth. The Dragoons are going to have to move forward to protect them. The other supply wagon races to here and it unpacks. Now the British have a target. They don't necessarily know it. He has Knox and the North Carolinians fall back and has the militia and Maxwell's Light right here. And now we have Sullivan. Sullivan moves some units to Birmingham Hill. He's still not convinced he doesn't have a fight on his hands. And finally, Nefausen. Troops from Bradford swing and attack. Here his artillery open up across the river. With devastating effect, Lord Stirling's troops are driven back. They catch a detachment along the way. He sounds the horns, they attack across the bridge. This is a battle on turn 6. One actual combat being fought. Knox's artillery drives back the forward British troops, and then he pulls them to safety as Nash's North Carolinians meet Stern's Hessians, and the fighting intensifies. They both retreat. Now in pub battles, when you get a result like that where they both retreat, it doesn't mean they both took up and ran away from each other. What it means is this combat is undecided. The area is still contested, the fight is still going on, but it's going to carry over into next turn, and who can ever reinforce the area first, or simply leave the area, will decide the issue there. So right now, there's indecisive combat on Rondelay Hill. Turn 7, Washington. His troops recover. Maxwell and militia come to help decide the battle on Rondelay Hill. Now this will be interesting to see how the chit draw falls out. In a two-player game, both players would probably be rolling furiously to get the moves they wanted. But as a two-player, or as a solitaire double blind, we go with the chit draw. The next chit is green. All of Green's troops are within range of the supply wagon, so they all rally. They can't move, and there's 4 of them in a row. What this means is if they get into combat and they have to retreat, they push everyone ends up spent again, retreating. These two here have nothing to add to the battle, all they can do is lose. But this is the way you can't move when you recover. They're recovering. Sullivan assembles his troops and drives a Nefausen's troop trying to cross here at Jones's Ford. He sends a detachment down to watch Whiston's Ford and pulls Stephen Virginians up towards the main battle. Nefausen. This time they're crossing and they were attacked. There's no penalty, but they don't get the bonus of defending behind the river, so it's a straight up situation, but you know what? They're going to stay in that. At this point, they feel they've got the initiative. Now, Grant is not going to attack like this for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't have that kind of knowledge of what's going on, so he's just kind of holding this, and he doesn't know what's back here. If he goes like this, and there's something still to move back, come up here, he could get flanked. He's going to stay right there. And Cornwallis. Cornwallis and Howe. He has his troops turning to fight. His troops move up on the flank. His troops position to gain any success. Light troops move off by the swamp. Bags move up. Artillery moves to the edge of the hill. Got combat there. Got combat there. Alright, over here on Jones Ford. Costly fighting indeed. The Colonials are not doing well against Ferguson's Scottish Highlanders, and they fall back. Night is falling. There's time for one more drive. Green fortifies his line. Wait! I forgot to do this combat here. After intense fighting, Maxwell's troops hold the hill. When Cornwallis was drawn this turn, then, he would advance these troops. There, now we're all caught up. Maxwell reorganizes his spent forces, and Washington reinforces the northern ford. Nefausen's men renew their attack. He sends Grant's men across the river. He moves up the artillery, tightens up his defenses, and Sullivan moves. Sullivan rallies his troops and has the Virginians come on up in a flank attack opportunity. Let us do combat. Now in this combat, these are the 2 main combatants here, and the flank attack modifies the main attack. The Americans managed to inflict 3 hits, which would normally eliminate a unit, but Ferguson's elite, and he absorbs 1. The remaining 2 cause him to retreat. Ferguson did 1 on the Colonials. They fall back. Pushing back, Washington's troops. And in the second battle, this will be the Americans flanking, the Colonials flanking. The spent British troops want none of this, and they retreat back. Up here on the hill, The militia are eliminated. Basically, they ran off, but not before they drove Nafason's troop back across Britain's Ford, leaving the colonial forces in charge of Rundelay Hill. And that's it. That was turn 8. Game over. Now, technically, they've both lost a regular unit, and the Americans have lost, in addition to that, a militia unit. The British have secured a roadway, but the American army is largely intact. The colonial army, the rebel army, the continental army is largely intact. They're essentially just going to get brushed aside. I'll leave it to you in the comments below let me know how you think history would decide the battle at this point. As always, please like and subscribe.